get started. I think I might be a little hot. Too hot, lady. Too hot. Gotta run for cover. Gotta run for shame. I'm too hot. Give me a second. Here we go. There we go. Hi, welcome everybody. Oh, look, my camera got nudged. Is that what happens? That's what happens sometimes. Yeah. By the way, get used to seeing me like this in a couple of days, because I'm trying to expand the space, and the only way I can do that is by getting farther away from you. I hope you're happy, folks, for Pete's sake. Welcome, Pete and everyone. You're all welcome. Glad to have you here. We got a lot to talk about today. The first of which is I spend an inordinate amount of my free time, as you well know, informing myself on a series of topics that normally don't hold my interest, that are, that in the course of my life in learning to play guitar and mandolin and banjo and bass and keyboards and sing properly with good technique and do stand-up comedy and the acting business as well. And then, of course, all the touring mechanics of that and the kind of generalized honey-do list capabilities that I have around the house in terms of wiring, the assembly of particle board furniture, of which I am a master. I'm a pro. Also, I'm really good at closet systems of all kinds. The kind that, that are kind of push in place and the kind that have to be measured and wall hung and then have like elbow joints on them. I can do that too. I can measure the thing out, organize one, install it. Done it multiple times. Mad skills, that even ones that don't pay the bills. That's how I live. Meanwhile, many of you will, I no doubt notice that I'm a tech geek as well. So I spend a good amount of my day trying to figure out how to better my stream and add little things like that, and like the Venmo thing and setting that up so that I have that constantly going. I'm amazed at how many people that do this for a living don't have similar things going at all times in case the bottom falls out on other things. You can keep your show going without going, oh crap, I did whatever the wrong thing and now I have no sponsors and all that. Yes, lint rolling as well. Massively good at lint rolling. I am the local cat petter massager that exists in the neighborhood. I'm just saying. Nobody even comes close. I'm sorry. I know you think you know what your cat wants. Now you don't. I got the magic. He's got the magic touch. Burn, burn, burn. You're running around in a dream. So just understand that. So in and amongst all that kind of stuff, occasionally, I would say there is a chess-like convergence in my thinking where I sort of see something coming down the bend and I go, that piece moves like an L and this piece moves diagonally. And if things keep, the only other options for this L piece to get where it's going ends up in the path of that diagonal thing. And everybody's like, that piece doesn't go like an L. It goes in a squirrely Q. It always has and it always will. And you go, no, it hasn't. It always goes in an L. No, I swear to God. And the thing that goes diagonally, that goes up and then it falls. And you're like, okay, maybe you guys know better than I do because you do this squiggly thing for a living. All right. But still, I get this feeling that I'm like, I don't know. I gotta call bullshit on some of this stuff. At some point, I gotta it sticks in my craw, and I start going, So in my studies, I've stumbled across a couple of things. And by the way, we will this kind of tease up. It's about the economic picture that goes on. These are three fellas. None of these are bad guys. It's a good way to start the show off, I think. Occasionally we're jumping into these clips, and almost everybody I show you is a complete prick right out of the gate. Not so much. Jeff Snyder and Emil Kalinowski have a regular show on a meals channel where they talk. Snyder's from an investment capital market firm or something, and then they talk economics, macroeconomics, and bond yields and shit like that. So when I was kind of doing a crash course, they were among like 10 people that I was kind of like, understand the bond market in 10 minutes, or here's a 3-hour course on fiat currencies, shit like that I've done over the years just to keep up with what the fuck, right? And Michael Green is the guy they introduce. He's I guess he's a professional. They regard him as a professional gentleman of capital market structures. Anyways, they're talking about whether or not we're in inflation. Now, this is long. I'm not going to do this whole video, but I want to bring you into just some thoughts and kind of introduce you to why I think the way I think on a bunch of these things after kind of looking at the arguments on multiple sides. And this is just not something you're going to hear very often. So I'm not going to, I might do a little jumping around because, like I said, it's an hour-long thing, and I'm not going to do an hour of it. I just want to lead up into something else. So here you go. Wait, okay, here we go. And then we'll talk into here.
The idea to have him come join us. And I believe it's time for both of you to perform a mea culpa, admit to the world that you're wrong about consumer price increases, inflation. This will be a highly rated show as you guys admit the error of your ways. And what? By
the way, this is an ongoing joke that they're never going to get the kind of viewers they need because they're far too sensible. It's kind of related to that. And it's because of what they believe. People are like,
You did wrong, and what sort of penance you will pay? Jeff, Mike, who wants to go first?
I think, our tension here is that we've narrowed it down to the world's smallest circle of people who are not buying into the inflation idea that this is actual inflation and that there's some sort of meaningful distinction between consumer prices for other reasons and consumer prices of the old inflationary model.
Okay. You guys following this so far? Is that their argument is we're not experiencing classic inflation, what people think of as inflation. What we're experiencing is supply shock, which is not caused by too much money in the system flowing willy-nilly and printing money and that idea. That's not, currently the situation. There may be times in history where that has been the cause of inflation, namely some of the big ones that didn't happen after a giant economic crash because of credit default swaps, and or times when there wasn't a pandemic a year and a half before. So, or an ongoing one, depending on how you feel about it.
I don't know, Mike. Is it just you and me left? Are there anybody else out there in the world after a year of relentless, hey, you guys, inflation's here. It's out of control. It's only getting worse.
Well, so I will tell you within my firm, my good friend Harley Bassman, who you and I chatted with, and his view is that we ganged up on him. Yes. Is constantly saying, Mike, when are you going to make the public apology? So the quick answer is there is no apology coming, right? Because I do think that we continue to be amongst the smallest group. There's a few others that I would toss in there. Alex Gurovich is a good friend of mine who feels somewhat similarly. Lacey Hunt, yes, I think would identify in this.
These guys are talking about like economics people who don't buy into the sort of current Fed story that you're hearing everywhere in the media, right? Doesn't mean prices aren't going up. It's just saying the prices aren't going up because of inflation. They are going up because of supply shock.
Same camp. And I do think it's really important that we do acknowledge that what people perceived we were saying in terms of the transitory inflation, the transitory shift in prices, and really what we've seen is a shift in relative prices that is designed to facilitate the allocation of capital in one form or another, or reflect shortages, scarcity.
This is going to pay off, trust me.
Et cetera, that has emerged as the world has tried to reopen, that we acknowledge that the transitory phrase was misunderstood, and we probably should have done a better job of helping.
Okay, so what he's talking about, remember the whole talk about transitory inflation that was back in the summer when everybody's talking about. Here's why. The reason they're talking about inflation in terms of transitory nature is that inflation's always going up, like 2% every year, approximately. It's always going up. It's never coming back down. But there are artificial inflations, and then there are mechanical normal inflations, as opposed to like we're adding more technical workers to raise the quality of something, so our employees are more expensive, or we're getting a new additional feature of something, but the parts or the rare earth minerals used to make this piece of technological shit is brought in from a faraway place. So that's going to tick things up, and that's that 2% you see kind of all the time. Plus, real estate is always gaining ground, kind of slowly creeping up all the time. So that's always a part of your constant expenditure when you pay rent for an office building, or you buy office property, or you work out of your home, or any of that shit. Okay, so it tacks up by about 2% all the time. The difference is that these giant spikes in inflation that are artificial, caused by something else. A lot of times it's caused by money flowing into the system, is the idea, that this monetary inflation. Whereas what we're experiencing now is people can't get shit. All right, let's go. Yes, like your cable bill. Yes, always going up, but always adding features, smart menus, shit like that, tying it into your internet. Yeah.
People understand that, one, we were talking about a rate of inflation as compared to a price level per se, right? Because much of what is going on is we are being forced to restructure supply chains, recognizing that some elements of those supply chains have shifted irrevocably.
Right. So the supply chains are changing forever. This is the argument that's being made here. Now, I'm not asking you to take this, sight unseen or whatever, but people will know that I've made this argument many times. And it's just interesting to stumble across these three guys making this basically the same point. Because we are reshoring factories to the United States, which is a 5 to 10 year process. We are getting out of China. We have been getting cheap stuff, overtly cheap stuff, assembled in China, not made there, because a lot of, like, say, iPhones, the chips are made in Cupertino, the glass comes from someplace else, the circuit boards are made in South Korea. They're sent to China to be assembled in a clean room, and then they're boxed in the Czech Republic. That's how most of that's the supply chain for your iPhone. That's coming home. Now everybody's going, that's going to drive the price up because you have to have union workers here, or if you, even in Mexico, it's still going to be, there'll be trade and tariff issues back and forth between us and Mexico if you end up moving the factory there. That's true. However, it is not more expensive than, say, the worldwide death and destruction caused by the collapse of the worldwide economy in 2 years' time, caused by working that way in China for so long. Like that has to be factored into the cost. If you do that, the prices of shit are going to go down. If that's only if human life matters to you.
Right. So China's involvement, Russia's involvement, the ability to ship stuff on a super efficient logistics system has certainly been damaged. It's unclear how much that will recover. And as a result, prices are going to have to be higher to encourage certain types of investment, certain types of restructuring of investment, of supply chains. But that's not actually inflation, right? Which is this generalized rise that is tied to monetary policy.
Right. That's the thing. Okay, I'm sorry. I interrupted Jeff. Hold on.
That's Mike, that's where we always lose people, because once you get into distinctions, it's like, no, we don't care. Gasoline price, we're getting killed at the grocery store. So what do we care why we call it this or that? It's happening. Its prices are rising. And, I try to make the argument all the time. Emil does. We get it in the comments section. We get it on Twitter. And it's really, what we're trying to tell you is that there is a difference, and it's not a meaningless difference. There's actually something serious going on here in terms of what it means about the future as well as the present.
Well, okay, so that's enough. I think you guys can get a grasp of the idea is that you're not getting killed, but that's what people are saying in terms of their feelings about inflated prices. And again, what happens when you have an artificial inflation, usually caused by like the manipulation of the oil market specifically, is you have a leap up and then a price crash. You have a deflation. You have deflationary pressure afterwards. So the big fear in the economy is not going to be like ongoing 20% Venezuela inflation like everybody's been bullshitting you into thinking. The problem actually, because if you're solving for the wrong cause, let's say you have a problem. You have a problem, but you disagree on the solution. If you pick the wrong solution, you will make the problem worse. Like, you think your house is flooding because groundwater is rising, when in reality, a flood has already come. And the truth is, you're not drowning simply because your windows and doors are shut. But your solution is there's water gathering in the kitchen. Maybe if we open the door, it'll run out. When in reality, you're underwater. If you open the door, you'll drown. Does that make sense? It matters why. And with, decisions the Fed is making and all those kind of things, it will affect how things are going. And the entire conversation, especially around the right wing, because they want to pin this on Biden, is about the idea that we have monetary inflation, that we're spending too much, that you plebes with your stupid stimulus checks and your bailouts from the government for your small business that couldn't operate for 10, 15 months, depending on when you could get workers back, if at all, that it's your fault, that saving you guys from COVID was a fundamental financial mistake, and you guys are fucking things up because you're priming the pump, or you're flooding the engine. That's the idea. That's where the Kudlows of the world, the Trumps, the Hannitys, those guys, that's the story they're telling, that we have monetary inflation. And we fucking well don't. We have supply shock. That's it. Almost all of this is based on that concept. Good Lord. Is that? Yeah, it is. Hold on. I have to close Telegram on the other thing because it made a noise. Eek. So again, all that eat the rich and kill the market and all that kind of stuff that people are saying in there. You're lunatics. Quit it. That won't solve anything. and it isn't, that's not the issue. So anyways, I'm just trying to catch you up on that. Okay, so which brings us to one of our favorite regular guests on the Thom Hartmann Show, Richard Wolff. Drawn here as a character in, I think, a film strip on economics in 1971. And this is relatively new because they put recession 2022 ? On his newspaper. Now, I have a feeling this drawing's been around for a while, and they change this every so often with the typeface. Yes. So yes, that's right, Mandy in Seattle. We are experiencing supply shock, not inflation. The prices are going up, but a price going up is not inflation. And the reason why prices go up, it specifically has the cause. You have to be aware of the proper cause, or you'll solve for the wrong problem and make shit worse. And solving it through monetary policy, either by raising interest rates or QE, it's going to create this back and forth wobble in the economy for no fucking reason, just because everybody's getting pressure. Jerome Powell and everyone is getting pressure from largely the right wing in the country, and a lot of people on the left who just don't fucking understand or think that's somebody else's business. I don't need to know. Right. Price gouging is part of it. Absolutely, Ginger. But that's because they either lost profits during the pandemic and are in danger of the company being sold, going under, blah, blah, blah. There's that part. Or they're trying to do buybacks on a bigger scale. There's a lot of reasons. But none of it has to do with the printing of money. None of it has to do with some bullshit idea that they're flooding the money with the country with cash. It has a lot to do with the It has nothing to do with the bailout, the rescue package, shit like that, or the support of people during COVID. It's nonsense. That's why the economy is recovering as well as it is. All we're feeling is literally based on supply shock and the fact that we relied on a supply chain that was stretched all over the fucking world for a long time, and now it's collapsed.
This is Richard Wolff from Democracy at Work with another Wolff Responds.
It's a little severe, dude.
I'd like to speak with you today about U.S. capitalism, the condition of the U.S. economy right now.
Which is apparently controls the world with a series of space satellites made out of snowflakes.
I think it's at a crucial point. I think big changes are coming.
Also, Democracy at Work's logo looks a lot like the Dow. I'm just saying.
I think it deserves way more attention than it is getting, particularly from the perspective I would like to offer now.
Okay,
We are coming off 2.5 years almost now.
Almost.
Of one of the worst periods in the history of U.S. capitalism. We suffered at the same time a major public health disaster, COVID-19.
We did? You're not going to tell me that played a major part in this. Nah, it's all monetary.
And the second worst collapse of our economic system since the Great Depression.
No, it didn't collapse. I mean, it definitely went down and required jump starting, I would say, or maintenance, but it didn't collapse. If it collapsed, it would no longer be. Never mind.
Of the 1930s. 2020 and 2021 were the combined experience of that. More than half of our labor force suffered unemployment for some period of that time.
Yes, which had nothing to do with economics at all and entirely to do with a fucking rampant disease.
Losses of jobs, losses of self-esteem, losses of homes.
Okay, government stepped in, largely put together eviction moratoriums and rent support even for businesses to stay in buildings that were effectively empty for months at a time. Self-esteem, I can't help you with. By the way, if you caught COVID or you feel shitty that you didn't, or did, or feel bad you lost a job or emotionally felt distraught because there was a pandemic, and you're like, I don't know, I'm questioning myself as a worker. You're kind of a lunatic.
Losses of income and losses of a sense of a future.
Only the people on ventilators.
All of those over 2 years plus, devastating.
Well, no, obviously, because you're making YouTube videos and you're putting them out, and so am I. And people have had it rough because it's a pandemic, but we're not devastated. Meanwhile, at the making of this video, there are mass graves being uncovered in Ukraine. That's what I would call devastation.
But then this capitalist system went one further step.
Oh, you bastard.
It hit this country with an unconscionable inflation.
Huh? It hit this system with an unconscionable inflation.
As if the other 2 years weren't worse enough, capitalism is showing us what it is capable of. Prices are rising 8 to 10% a year on average.
Year over year.
Wages are not keeping up, not even close.
Yeah, but the inflation is temporary because it's based on supply shock, not monetary supply. Geez, if only we had an economics professor around who would know these things.
Therefore, the inequality, which got worse through the pandemic and the crash.
No, technically it didn't. I mean, if you're only counting the fact that Amazon bloomed and all the delivery services and the mail companies like eBay and Walmart.com, those definitely ballooned during this time. And small businesses collapsed because they were bars and restaurants, places people couldn't go. That's not indicative of inequality. That's indicative of the functionality of those businesses during a temporary pandemic.
It's getting still worse through the inflation. And now the final step, which provoked this video.
Uh-oh.
Major banks in this country are telling us that because of the devastating inflation and all the economic damage it is causing, on top of everything else,
Yeah, on top of the COVID that it caused.
the government is going to step in to try to stop or slow the inflation by raising interest rates. It's already begun. May and June are scheduled to be big further increases.
Quarter points.
And at least 3 banks, Goldman Sachs, Deutsche Bank, and the Bank of America, have now predicted a recession at the end of this year.
That's because they're pushing back against the rise in interest rates, because that's how you stop inflation. Traditionally, when it's monetary inflation, you trigger a mild recession. That's what does it. That recession removes money from the supply. The problem is that's not what's causing this. The Fed is recognizing this. The banks are arguing against it.
Or early next year as a consequence of rising interest rates.
Or the fact that we've gone through a giant pandemic and we're having to reshore almost every industry.
It's too much.
Oh, no.
These kinds of repeated blows to the working class of this country, the vast majority of people who don't own significant amounts of stock, who depend on their jobs.
Yes, if you have a Robinhood account, you're insignificant as a stockholder. If you meme stock game stoppers, got to knock it off.
For the incomes they and their families need. We are now saying to them, you really don't matter. And they're angry.
We are? I'm sorry, my mouse clicks are loud. I apologize. Are we that? Are we? Did we send out the newsletter telling people that they're worthless and they're angry?
And they're bitter. And the social conflicts and divisions.
Racism, white America's most dangerous socially transmitted disease. Okay, okay. That guy seems to be more concerned with racial politics and the idea that of racial injustice, and good on him for it. Maybe, I don't know. Is this a picture of him? Was he fired from his anti-racism job? And did somebody tell him he's worthless on his way out the door?
And angers and rages are getting worse by the hour.
No, they're not.
What's going on is a failure of an economic system made worse by the inability or the refusal of those in power to admit it and to face it and to deal with it.
Admit what? Deal with it. Jesus Christ.
No. From President Biden on down, we're in an economic recovery.
We are.
The horror of that claim was made clear in recent days with the results of the University of Michigan Consumer Survey.
Please, God, save me from Marxists who are using consumer surveys to dictate how the economy is actually going.
Which clearly showed that record low percentages of the American people think we're in good economic times, and even more extreme lows never seen before in what folks expect in the way of the economic future we face.
Yeah, it's almost like all the news they've gotten is bullshit.
No, we're not in a recovery, and saying so doesn't make it so.
Well, I mean, we technically are. I mean, we had 6.7% unemployment, for example, and now we have 3.6%. Wages are going up. Again, the supply shock inflation is different than monetary inflation. And it's not anything that anybody can do anything about except deal with the material world as it is. The lack of realism, and Leon's getting larger.
This is a failed system. And the sooner we face it.
By the way, he's doing this video from New York, I believe.
And talk about it.
Not Canada.
And begin to deal with the changes needed to get out of this downward spiral, the better off we all will be.
Like what? You're an economics professor. You've got 43 seconds left. Give it to me, big boy.
If discussions like this strike you as needing to be part of the popular conversation.
This isn't a discussion. This is a rhetorical blather.
About where we are.
Where are you?
Then please partner with us.
No, I'm not going to do that. This is a sales pitch. Motherfucker. This is like Glenn. It's all Glenn Beck. At the end of the day, they're all selling me prepper food. Can I explain supply shock? Yes, Scott Peterson. So supply shock is when you had an ongoing availability of goods. Say the closest thing most people experience would be wheat blight or a frost that lowers the amount of available oranges, for example. So a supply shock would be year after year after year after year, we have oranges. And then one year there's a huge weird winter storm that wipes out all the oranges. And so everything related to that, from orange juice to fresh oranges to orange flavoring to whatever the fuck they do with the peels to make pigment for stuff, all of that stuff falls off a cliff, right? And so the prices jack up temporarily, but that doesn't stay permanent because the next year or 2 years later, there'll be a recovery and the normal amount of oranges will still be back in the market. Does that make sense? It's not because all of a sudden there was a law against producing oranges and you just can't get them anymore. And now they're a specialty item that only the super rich can afford. It's because there was a direct impact on that crop that year. Does that make sense? I did finally find the oranges of the oranges, everybody. Right? Do you like movies about gladiators? It does have that kind of a vibe. Yeah, no problem, Scott. So again, you wouldn't say that the year after oranges, the price of oranges went up because there was a frost, that the price of oranges has hit an inflation marker that it's going to stay at. Nobody would get away with charging the same amount for oranges 2 years later. If they did, they'd be left with a lot of rotten oranges because people would just go, fuck you, I don't need oranges anymore. I've moved on. I'm eating mangoes now. They're cheaper. And, I'm not going to pay you like they're rare if they're falling off the goddamn trees. That's why, by the way, oil, the last time it spiked at $143 a barrel, dropped to $35 a barrel within 7 months. And again, the gas prices went up when that happened, but it wasn't inflation. Because if it was inflation, that would have stuck. Inflation is that 2% plus that happens all the time. And it slowly over the years raises prices. That's why, $1 in 1970 buys you, would cost you whatever you could buy with $1 in 1970 would cost you $7.17 now because of that 2% upon 2% upon 2% upon 2%. Does that make sense? Yes, and oil prices are highly manipulated, and therefore it's one of the reasons why they don't add them to the CPI sometimes. When Glenn Beck is bitching all the time about how these fuckers, they don't include, he doesn't swear, I do, but he's like, they don't include energy or they exclude energy from their measurement of inflation. Well, there's a reason why they do that, because it's a highly manipulated number. It's not based on steady climb. Sometimes the Saudis produce a lot and glut the market in a fight with the Russians like they did while Trump was in office. And then he goes over and talks everybody into slowing production, into a contract, by the way, that ends this month. Trump made a deal with the Saudis and the Russians that we would lower our output, that Mexico would lower their output, and we were paying Mexico to continue to lower their output. And that deal ends this month. So anyways, oil is 40% higher than told. What do you mean? Just in overall cost? Well, we pay different prices depending on where we're getting it from too. And also our oil and gas is extracted with more environmental care than, say, the oil and gas in Russia, for sure. It's on par with the coal that's taken out of the ground in China versus the coal, by the way, that's taken out of the ground in Australia. Man. Anyways, that you get my point. Meanwhile, this motherfucker is going to sell us something at the end, isn't he?
Share this video.
Why? What did I learn? What was I supposed to get from this? Like, I love Tom Hartman, but he has this fucker on all the time, and I have yet to see him be right about anything.
Video. Friends, family, co-workers.
Yes, that's what the right wing tells me to do too with their videos at the end.
However you can.
I'm going to scroll it on. I'm going to write everything down on parchment. I'm going to wad it up and stick it in my rectum and poop it into the mouth of a dear friend who needs to learn macroeconomics.
It's a way for us together to extend the reach of bringing some sanity to the economic crisis building around us.
No, the assertion that there's an economic crisis or that the crisis you're asserting exists for the reasons that you are asserting it. There is no difference, ladies and gentlemen, between the argument that Prof. Wolff here is making and the argument that Larry Kudlow is making. It's the same bullshit with the same remedy. Ugh. God. So anyways, thanks CSL for popping a little Richard Wolff into my regular. Hold on, is this working? Yeah, it's working now. Into my my little secret envelope of videos that I go through. Thanks, Fish Delight. You know, I used to think this guy was cool because of Tom, but hearing him get all worked up and then pass the hat around makes me feel like a fool forever. Like, well, that's exactly the issue. Look, I don't care. Here's the thing. To some degree, if you're a Marxist, communist, socialist, and that's your true belief and all that kind of, knock yourself the fuck out. But don't lie to me, A, that you are, because that dude's got that guy's got a 401k that could choke Elon Musk's cyber horse. Secondly, everything about his show is capitalism. Ugh. And then, ultimately in the end, don't give financial advice effectively about an economy that won't work and will hurt more people. Jesus. All right. So, meanwhile, let's see. The story. Let's look. One of the reasons why we have the rise in gas prices because basically Russian oil has been taken completely out of the market. They're selling it just to China. It's like a single market, and some to India. And both of them, their appetites are so huge that they'll just gobble it up and it'll be gone. And it is a finite resource. Russia is staring down the barrel of demographic collapse and a resource-based economy that is running out of that resource. What about social democracy? Social democracy is it's a hashtag. If you're democratic socialist, social democracy is kind of what we have. Anyways, so you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide, and the system screws us. Not too sure why you think it isn't. Explain what you mean by the system. That would be it. The markets are big enough. The markets are just incorporating more businesses. The FANG groups, Facebook, Apple, Netflix, and Google, which were the four big investment points, are really they're. Who is it? Some economics person a long time ago said that the stock market is just an economic beauty pageant, something along those lines. Capitalism is what I think he needs by the system. No, because there's lots of different types of capitalism. Yeah, and I'm just telling you my opinion. You don't have to believe what, or even agree with me. But I'm going to tell you what I really think, not just make you feel good about stuff. Yeah. So this is incredibly crucial because, again, it's the sales point you're hearing from this dude. This is the same sales point. They all want the same thing to make it to basically, like Russell Brand and Jimmy Dore, they're fear farmers. They farm your fear. They make you, hate the other. You create a them, point to the them. Who is them? No one knows who is them. Only they know who is them. And then that's all they need to do to steer you around. So, okay. So this one's fun. This is called Russian gas. Hold on. Russian gas and oligarchs, which also sounds like a fart. That was a real oligarch. I'm just telling you. This is Steve Bannon, Russian gas and Ukrainian oligarchs. There we go.
You know that this is not my line of country, right? I specifically stay away from all of that for a specific reason. You know.
What's the specific reason? Oh, because if you go over there, the Chinese have business in Ukraine and they have business in Russia. And since they have business with you, they don't want you fucking around over there.
I know this better than anybody.
No, he doesn't.
From the beginning. Where's the oligarchs' money, and why have we not stripped the Ukrainian oligarchs?
Why have we not stripped the Ukrainian oligarchs?
Most of the oligarch money is laundered overseas.
It's laundered off seas. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a lot of people don't understand the economic mumbo jumbo of off seas. What he means is offshore.
Prosecutors in Ukraine pretty much have a feel for about 3/4 of it, including where Biden's money is. And there's a very, very clear one
and by the way, I've been waiting a long time. Apparently someone's going to release all the contents of the hard drive this dickhead has been shopping around, and I'm for it. I can't wait to see the contents of the hard drive named laptop and sift through it my own damn self. Meanwhile, now that he's introduced it, when in the world are we going to get to see Biden's volcano lair? Right? I mean, honestly, where is all this money going if not to a volcano lair? I have to be completely honest with you folks. My dream house is the Red Skull's mountain in Captain America, the First Avenger. The interior architecture, the tunneling, the big windows looking out over the Alps. It's, I'd go to the store in a squirrel suit and come back in a Piper Cub. I'm just saying. Yeah, 500 gigs on a 100 gig drive. Don't get me started. We don't have the power. Meanwhile, look at what the fuck is happening with that whiteboard in the background? Okay. Cable, MSNBC, CNN. That's what's got right up here. Hold on. This right here. Cables, MSNBC, CNN, and then is that Peppermint Patty? What did I say? Or is that premature deaths? I don't know his P's from his D's. And then Biden and Clambake, Treadstone. I don't know. It's like, and then of course the old glory hole. Glory, glory, glory. So let's go. Let's continue on with.
Zelensky is quite aware of the $100 million bribe to Poroshenko in order to drop the Burisma case. That was the real purpose of the Hunter Biden bribe. That has now come out both in the hard drive and in.
I'm sorry, the what? Well, see, this is what happens, Rudy. This is what happens. You can't hang around with Steve Bannon. You're going to pick up his fuck-ups. You're the one supposed to say laptop. You're the one supposed to come in contact. And now everybody knows it's not you've never even fucking seen the goddamn thing. You were supposed to have it in that house. This motherfucker, it's a hard drive now. Now it's a hard drive.
In Miranda Devine's book, I mean, there's
the hard drive in Miranda Devine's book. You mean the copy of the hard drive that you copied a bunch of times, that you copied and gave to Miranda Devine to write a book about the laptop, even though she never saw a fucking laptop and has only got like a 7th generation hard drive full of fakery and bullshit?
Unequivocal evidence of, that whole.
No, Rudy, I don't know if you've seen my shows. I've made a shit ton of equivocations about your bullshit.
That whole conversation about, I'll give you your billion unless you drop the prosecutor.
Okay. Yeah, that's how it went. I'll give you your bill. It's the same fucking thing we've been talking about. You have the whole hard drive. Why am I still hearing the same 9 fucking things? What the hell? The fake FBI guys took the laptop. I'm even doing it now. And told the guy at the laptop place, if Hunter comes back for it, call us. We'll get it to you. Get the fuck out of here. The $1 billion in loan guarantees. Biden was sent there on behalf of the Obama administration and all of Congress, and in agreement with the entire EU that they don't get the fucking money unless they get this dude out of there, because he was actually keeping the corrupt guys in power.
Who were supposed to be
whoa.
Hang, ho.
We got plenty of time to come back and do the hard drive from hell, because he's.
Excuse me, it's a laptop from hell. Get it right.
I'm getting impeached over that. There's a federal grand jury, thanks to your hard work, Bob.
No, it's not. He's not. And here's the thing: nothing from that hard drive will ever be admissible as evidence. I seriously. With these 2 assholes in the chain of custody, get the fuck out of here.
Hard work, Bernie Kerrick's hard work, all of that. But I want to just put that. Let's put that
aside. Yeah, let's not talk about that right now. Even though because somebody's going to ask, where is it?
In there for a second, okay? I'm talking about the scale of all the
right. My laptop, my hard drive, my laptop, my hard drive, my laptop, my hard drive. It's my laptop and my hard drive.
They're a country run by oligarchs.
Yes. Unlike Russia.
Just like Russia's run by the KGB and the military with Putin, but he's got his buddies, the oligarchs, and he's skimming 10% or 20% or whatever.
Try 90.
Whatever it is. With the
whatever it
oligarchs.
is.
They're actually more powerful than the Ukraine. And you say it's all offshore accounts. Why is that not being? Why are we not demanding? Why are Republicans not standing up and demanding, instead of the American people shipping over $800 million this day and another $800 million this day, and the arms merchants are making all the 20% margins, profit margins, right? Why are we?
Yes, on those armor-piercing shells in the tips of the spears. They're very expensive.
The scale of their...
Did you say KJB? KBJ?
Stealing from this country is pretty monumental. Is that correct, Rudy?
Yeah, it's mutual, really.
It's mutual? Wait a minute. Hold on. Back the fuck up. Sorry, I'm having a hard time grasping what the fuck he's talking about. And then Rudy says something that's even more gibberish.
The scale of their stealing from this country is pretty monumental. Is that correct, Rudy?
Yeah, it's mutual, really. We've stolen a lot from them, too.
Oh, so we're stealing from Ukraine? Or we did? We did steal from Ukraine? Oh, you mean when Trump was in charge and he denied them lethal aid when they needed it? I see.
The scale of illegal activity between Ukraine and the United States, starting in about 2014, the Obama.
Look, I mean, I don't know why we're basically seeing an intellectual human centipede between Steve Bannon and Rudy Giuliani, with Jimmy Dore right in the middle, mouth on Bannon's ass, ass on Rudy's.
Obama administration is way beyond anything I could estimate, except having been told by a Ukrainian prosecutor.
Oh, that's a rough slip. A Russian prosecutor. You mean a Russian sock puppet? Is that the phrase you're looking for?
But if the whole thing comes out, you're going to have big perp walks in Washington out of the Senate and House.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. All in the word of a Russian sock puppet who wants, I guess, Ukraine to not get military aid from the United States and the EU. And why would he want that? For the good of his country, of course.
That's a quote.
So
that's a quote. What's the guy's name? Who are you quoting? When I crochet that quote into a pillow, I want to give proper credit, Rudy.
Okay. Would you say that this should have?
And I appreciate you saying that.
I like wood.
Steve,
A special prosecutor assigned to it, so one special.
Oh
prosecutor
my goodness! This is, I mean, if there ever was a justification for a special prosecutor, it's when the son of the president implicates the president directly in a crime.
Well, he didn't. He never has. He hasn't. And even the fake bullshit you're referencing on the hard drive, sorry, laptop, my hard drive, my laptop, my hard drive, wouldn't, a first-year law student would throw that shit out.
Of major proportions for 30
Would get it
years,
thrown out.
selling out the United States. And he does it in his own language, under highly credible circumstances, with an enormous number of paper backup, that over 30 years, he was required to give his father half the money they took in.
Again, this is the fifth. We're hearing they keep saying they have more stuff on this this hard drive, and we're still hearing the same 8 fucking texts from 2020. Am I losing my mind here? Am I the only person who thinks this is aggravating as fuck? I thought you guys were supposed to be leaking out more stuff, that this was like, oh my God, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And we keep hearing the same beats over and over again. I mean, I appreciate he's playing the hits, but this jazzed up acoustic Layla version of it has got to go.
So that describes the context of everything else we have.
You have nothing. Otherwise, you would say it. What do you have?
Probably the largest bribery scheme in the history of the United States. Right there. They're in the FBI in the face for 2.5 years. And, you know, they're doing tax evasion.
Huh. Maybe that's because they actually have evidence of the tax evasion.
When you say doing tax evasion, you mean the grand jury in Delaware?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a real possibility they're trying to end this, you know, with a tax evasion and foreign agents registration case. He can be very sorry and go on some kind of community service. Now we end it, and the Bidens get to keep the 31 million they got from China and the multiple millions they got from Russia and the 14 million they got from Ukraine's most dishonest man.
Ukraine's most dishonest man.
You know, the problem with this is we have a president at this time who's so compromised.
So compromised.
By Ukraine, China.
Right. He's so compromised. He's strong-arming NATO into pushing back against Russia. You do realize also that the people, Poroshenko, partly, but definitely Yanukovych and definitely the prosecutor, all the people that are supposed to have Biden by the short and curlies are no longer in the country or no longer running the place and are technically in Russia. So anybody who would have anything on Biden that would manipulate him into behaving any particular way towards Ukraine would be wanting him to let Russia do whatever the fuck it wants. We would not, if there was really compromise on him and they were really wanting to use it, the result would be Ukraine doesn't get shit. Because the very people we're talking about, including the prosecutor, they're all living in Russia now. Same thing with China. Like, how the fuck? We just sent a delegation, I think including Ron Klain, to fucking Taiwan. Biden has said out loud, we would defend Taiwan if it was attacked by China. He's recognizing it as a country. The Japanese, the Australians, and the U.S. are doing, and the Brits are doing fucking laps around the island, around the country. And we just gave nuclear-powered submarine tech to Australia to push back against Chinese military expansion in the South China Seas. What did they buy for that? Is it just, did they get, at some point, I think we have to conclude that the Bidens are just great at suckering people into giving them cash and never having to give anything in fucking return. Meanwhile, what did Trump get? 15 million bucks that he had to take out immediately to pay his bills in a slush fund account in China to sell them our biggest order of beef, corn, and soybeans in history, or killing TPP in exchange for killing TPP, which would, benefit China immensely pre-COVID, of course. Now there's no salvaging it. And I don't know what he got from Russia other than not releasing the PP tape. And then I guess Putin made him let him touch his butthole because of how he was walking out of the room every time they would meet.
Russia, he has no room to act. He can't. If he proposed going to get the money from the Ukraine oligarchs, some of that would be money of his.
What? So they're holding it for him? All right.
Money that he shared with them.
Oh, well, he shared with them? Let's see. Now you've just convinced me to vote for Biden again. I was almost with you that he's a corrupt, he's a doddering, forgetful, dementia-ridden old fool who's the mastermind of a criminal enterprise, the biggest the world has ever seen, bigger than the mafia, bigger than the triad, bigger than the Medellin cartel, all wrapped in one filthy package with MS-13 as roller skates underneath his feet as he glides across the earth, destroying everything in his path. And then you go and I was this close, like, well, fuck that guy. And then you tell me he shares. No. That's sweet.
This is my point. Where's our money, or where's the money?
What the fuck edit was that? This is my point. Where's our money? Back that the fuck up. Wait, what? Run that by me again?
The oligarchs. Some of that would be money of his. Money that he shared with them.
This is my point. Where's our money?
This is my point. Where's our money? That's so weird. That's kind of amazing. What did they cut out? Did Rudy just not shut the fuck up so they couldn't get up?
Ukraine, from the Ukraine oligarchs. Some of that would be money of his. Money that he shared with them.
This is my point. Where's our money, or where's the money from the war that's been stolen? Where's the Ukrainian people's money? It's been stolen by the oligarchs. Look, we should strip all the oligarchs in Russia, strip them of everything.
So
the Russian...
Rudy doesn't seem to be enjoying that thought too much. Yeah, he's not... That didn't land in Rudy's brain pan or what's left of it the way you thought it would, Steve. Let's strip all the Russian oligarchs of their money.
Ukrainian oligarchs, Rudy, you're the best at this.
At what? Oh, yes. Going around Ukraine, looking for Ukrainians and bumping into Russians.
Rudy, would you donate? Would you volunteer to go help Zelensky get this money?
Damn right. I could help him. I could help him find exactly the accounts he's looking for, because his prosecutor showed them to me with great frustration that they were blocked by Ukrainian government, but also our Treasury Department under Obama and Trump.
What is going on? Honestly, Joe Biden he must be the head of Spectre at this point. Not only, I understand he could make Obama do whatever he wanted, had him wrapped around his finger. But he had Trump as well, a man who was an outsider, a man who was beholden to no one, who could pay for his own. Okay, that was bullshit. But
from getting at accounts, for example, some that related to money going to Joe Biden. So, and I don't want to give the impression it's just Joe Biden. It's a lot of people.
Sure.
So if I was...
Well, I would be interested in any of the actual facts about just Joe Biden. I am not interested in the lack of facts you have about a lot of other people.
Zelensky, my advice to him would be call them all in. There are only about 8 of them that have the big money, maybe 10.
Yeah, but 3 of them are fighting in the battles, and the other ones are hiding in Sweden, I think, right now, so they don't die.
And say, look, I know where the money is. And I let a couple of you guys off. I said I was going to go into this when I came in. But now I have no choice, boys. I need your money. And here's the amount of money I want from you.
He doesn't need it.
And just tell him, go get the money out.
Yeah, you got your ATM card, right? Go down. Where are you? You're in Kharkiv in a trench? Okay, there's an ATM. I'm looking at satellite photos right now.
You know, Akhmatov, you're the richest guy. You're going to get the biggest penalty. So get the money in. I need $1 billion from you. He probably took out about 5. Or how about his own employer? The guy who employed him when he was an actor is Kolomoisky. Kolomoisky ran the prime bank of Ukraine. It's the single best laundering operation in the world. Russians use it to launder their money.
Well, they used to. And then Zelensky and all those guys came in and fucked the whole thing up. Now they had to move everything to Bank of Cyprus, where Wilbur Ross used to work.
He's so good. He walked out with $7 billion in his pocket.
Those are big pockets. That's very. He must have looked like he had balls as big as church bells.
The guy that employed the Bidens walked out with $5 billion in his pocket.
Again, what kind of pants do people wear in Ukraine?
And it only cost him $100 million to fix the case. He's got plenty of money to contribute. Now, Zelensky knows all of this. He was supposed.
Yeah, it's so weird. He's looking at all these dead people. He's hearing stories of women and children being raped and tortured to death, and he just, why won't he call Rudy Giuliani? Well, I think largely because he's suffered enough.
Going to go after them, but that would take years. Now you have a national emergency. Save your country. Believe it or not, some of these oligarchs.
Okay, first of all, Rudy's voice is fucking with me right now. It's gross. Clear your throat or go get on a ventilator.
Oligarchs, like the mafia guys, are patriotic.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and go, the cigar ads were a fucking mistake, and I would get yourself checked for throat cancer, Rudy, immediately. That sounds awful.
I see Poroshenko, who was the biggest crook in Ukraine, stole everything that wasn't locked down. He's in the streets with his machine gun. He's 300 people, and he's shooting at the Russians, and they're shooting back at him. So this guy has some feeling for his country. Maybe he could get some of that $100 million back.
Yes, hey, Rudy, don't get all sentimental on me, man. You're Rudy. What do you mean patriotic? He's out there shooting because he doesn't want to. Good God, man, come on.
This guy's out shooting because he doesn't want to get caught. What's the phrase? These two guys are laughing about the fact that Poroshenko, who was the transition guy between Yanukovych to Zelensky, who was dealt with as much, if not more, corruption than Zelensky has had to deal with in his time so far before all this shit happened.
He's out there shooting because as soon as the Russians get there, they're going to be stealing his money. He's got a good gig.
Right.
He's got these oligarchs.
Guys run away.
A little bit of projection. Two guys who have never skipped a dessert are questioning the motives of a guy who's actually fighting in the streets for his fucking country right now.
Would they rather have Zelensky?
Jesus, Rudy's voice sounds like Steve looks.
In the West and all this, they can keep stealing. Remember, they stole it under our watch. This is when the EU and NATO is playing footsie.
They stole it under our watch. And some of our most famous politicians participated in taking some.
Oh, goddamn, I'm having a hard time with his fucking voice.
Every time I go after the Ukrainian prosecutors, when they tell me I can get money on this guy and that guy, and I say, that's terrible how your country works. Oh, he said, well, this guy was the closest friend of Biden's. This guy worked with Kerry. Yeah, a Pelosi kid? Oh, yeah, they were very friendly. How about
Right. The Russian sock puppet who flew you around, told you whatever you wanted to say, and then led you directly to the guys who sold you the hard drive?
our friend Romney? It may even be a
Romney. Who isn't involved in Ukraine?
That's there for Romney.
So once again, Rudy, we got a couple of minutes here.
But it's funny. You got a couple of minutes left, and you're out of talking points.
You're recommending that Zelensky.
Yes, this is better. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, internet gods. That just happened on its own. It's like the Manitou, the spirit that lives within the mechanics of all things, just went, you've had enough.
Either somebody like you or somebody like you to go shake down the 10 top oligarchs. And this is money stolen from the Ukrainian people.
By the way, it's hard. I'm struggling right now. It's very hard for me to not make yes, please fly Rudy to Ukraine right now. Has he seen the eastern part of the country? It seems lovely this time of year.
Stolen from the American people, and people in Europe that have been giving money over there and giving money in arms and supporting this thing forever. It's our money too, but principally, let's say it's the Ukrainian people's money. It's
in general
stolen from them. And you would say, have you seen any effort of Zelensky when everybody's fanboying on this guy? Any instance at all to go shake the oligarchs down and get the money back?
We lost him. Oh no, we lost Rudy. Look at that. That's the look on your face that happens when you lose Rudy. When you've lost Rudy. What are we going to do now? Let's see that moment again. That's tough.
Any instance at all to go shake the oligarchs down and get the money back? We lost him. Oh, we lost Rudy?
Yeah, we lost Rudy. Well, I'm glad you put this clip up.
Okay, fine. That's okay. I can go on a 2-minute rant. Do I have Frank Gaffney? I can go on another rant. We'll get. Rudy's back. Rudy's back. Rudy, you there?
I'm here.
You paying your bills? You got internet? Maria, don't get too. I know she got upset when I said, Rudy, don't get sentimental on me, right? She likes the sentimental Rudy. Rudy, once again, before we punch, are you donating your time and energy?
Oh God. Don't bring up his wife / first cousin and he starts going, what the fuck is this, like, Jabba the Hutt face licking shit?
Rudy, once again, before we punch, are you donating your time and energy to help Zelensky? Get the money from the oligarchs.
I am willing to do it. I mean, they haven't asked, and
that's weird. No one's asked you to try to fly to Ukraine. Rudy, I'm asking you right now. Fly to Ukraine right now. Steve, get your Chinese dissident, your fake Chinese dissident dude with the big ship. Have him boat Rudy over a couple of days. It'll still be going on. Give him a one-way plane ticket and tell him you'll be waiting there when he comes back.
I don't know if they want me around, since I know where a lot of the bodies are buried, particularly there.
This motherfucker. You know where the bodies are buried? I mean, they're just not even going to think before they speak at all, while they laugh about money and Ukraine right now and bullshit from Yanukovych, who Manafort worked for, who shot Ukrainian citizens in the fucking street. And this asshole with what just happened in Bucha is going to say, I know where the bodies are buried. Oh, fuck.
Bodies, not just ours.
What? Okay, I thought that quote was as bad as it was going to get. That's my mistake.
Energy to help Zelensky get the money from the oligarchs.
I am willing to do it. I mean, they haven't asked, and I don't know if they want me around, since I know where a lot of the bodies are buried, particularly their bodies, not just ours.
Fucking hell.
And I have a relationship with their prosecutors that gets the best out of them. Meaning, like every country, not everybody's corrupt. You've got within that prosecutor's office a nice group of people who get outraged by this. They've been after it for 8-10 years. You can't imagine what they think of our president. And if you think
I would imagine right now that they think our president is the only thing standing between them and total annihilation, and our last president almost got them all murdered.
People of Ukraine don't know that Biden is corrupt.
Geez, I can't imagine why. Maybe because he's why they're alive.
Every time we talk about corruption in Ukraine, they laugh at us.
Okay, yeah, I like these people more and more every day. Every time we talk about corruption in Ukraine, they laugh at us. He's talking about, by the way, Ukrainians.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Rudy.
Wait a minute. Yep, they should. What?
Don't know that Biden is corrupt. Every time we talk about corruption in Ukraine, they laugh at us.
Yep, they should.
I don't know. I agree. I agree. This is a first. Welcome to a new moment in my life. I agree with Steve Bannon. Rudy says that the Ukrainians, every time the two of them bring up corruption, they laugh at them. And Steve Bannon says they should. Okay. Well, that settles it, I think. That's the great. Cool. Hey, good times. What the fuck? Oh,
Rudy, you got the hottest radio show in New York. You got the best podcast.
No.
How do people?
No, you don't.
People get to you on Getter. How do we get?
Yeah, but how do you even? What? It's the hottest thing. I can't find it.
It's the best way to get to me, and I am on Getter. You can get me on Getter. You can get my podcast on Getter.
Not on. You're not on Truth Social. I'm shocked.
You can get me at Rudy Giuliani CS.com, and there you can get everything, including all the things that are on Getter. And we've got a podcast coming out tomorrow about the whole Musk situation and exactly who he's fighting. This guy is basically fighting. He's basically what you and I were fighting when we were trying to reveal the hard drive. The
hard drive. Again, this dude can't stop fucking this up. And Steve's trying to dump him and get to break.
And Kurt, in a sense, wind up again.
We'll have you back on to talk about that. We got a rising Giuliani on tomorrow. Andrew, to tell us about this governor's race. Rudy, Dr. Ryan, thank you.
Oh God, what a fucking waste of space. First of all, I'm so glad we don't cover Rudy's Common Sense podcast much anymore because he doesn't do it as much anymore. He still has his radio show. I think I need to figure out when it is again. I looked at one point and I've just totally put it out of my brain, but I think I need to do a call in. Yeah, maybe because it would be between the morning show and this one day a week. But I think I need to call in and call bullshit. I think I need to start doing that. Now, hold on. Ugh. I'm shocked. You're shocked. We're all shocked. It's shocking right now. Everything is shocking. Don't you feel? The only people who think nothing's shocking is Jane's addiction. And that's only because, Jane says. Anyways, so there is a shock that's happening right now, and I'm shocked to find stuff out. You're shocked to find it out. Apparently, we don't know for sure. Shock. Is Biden giving our strategic oil to Europe? European Union is set to declare a full embargo on Russian oil after France's upcoming presidential election, which could cause the price per barrel of oil to skyrocket yet again, maybe up to $185. JP Morgan has warned. And the worst part, with China, Turkey, and India buying whatever oil supplies Europe won't take, it's unlikely the embargo will hurt Russia, but it will affect you. Plus, a new report alleges Biden is not only releasing oil from the strategic reserves to help Americans, but the administration could be giving that oil to Europe too. So does anyone? Well, it goes to the market. All right, never mind. And he coordinates it with other countries. All right, let's see what it is. I'm shocked already. I mean, I think we're all. Are you shocked? I mean, do we even have to watch it if we're shocked already? I'm shocked.
I get into the strategic oil reserve. Let me just give you something that Reuters.
By the way, if this clip ends with Glenn Beck climbing into the strategic oil reserves in the salt caves in Nolans or whatever, I'm going to dance a jig.
Reported last night, the EU is set to declare a full embargo on Russian oil after this week's French election.
And interestingly enough, I don't know if you noticed this, it came at a terrible time because Glenn has a cold and he sounds a bit nasally. It's chilly in the studio, so he's wearing two shirts. A shirt, a shacket, and a jacket, and a scarf, because he's action hobo Rambo formal Glenn Beck action figure today.
Now that election is happening, I believe, this weekend, is it not?
Why look it up beforehand? It's not like you have a giant fucking screen in front of you. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, support the show. This is HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. I do these whole clips all the way through. Dear God.
And it's between Macron and Le Pen. It is close. I mean, remember last time. Do you happen to know those numbers? The last time Macron ran against Le Pen, wasn't it?
Yeah. Stu, do you have a giant touchscreen computer right in front of you that you could tap a couple of things and come up with that on? You don't? No? Weird.
Like 80-20 or something?
It was something like, I want to say it was 70-30, 80-20, something in that general vicinity. Because they have a big election, top two go to a runoff. Correct. In that runoff, it adds up to 100%.
That's true no matter how many people vote, because it's a percentage.
Because there's only two candidates and everyone has to vote, pick somebody. So it was a blowout, though. It was not close. It was like, I can't believe she got into the runoff was the reaction to it. And then the runoff was not close. That's not the case this time.
Yeah, it's 45-55, Macron. And once again, the elites are deciding an election. In World War I.
Yes, the elites are deciding it. And by elites, he means the people of France who don't want a proto-Nazi who supports Vladimir Putin as the leader of France within the country.
Right before we went into World War I, Wilson said as his campaign slogan, "I'm not going to get you into war." Within just a few weeks after he was in office for his second term, after the election, we were at war. He's
like a bastard.
Sent the troops to war. The elites always think they know better, and so they will keep things from you. And that's
oh, I see. All right, they were keeping things from him. Nothing new happened. Do I have to? I mean. May I? Woodrow Wilson did not want war. When World War I erupted in Europe in 1914, the 28th U.S. president pledged neutrality in sync with prevailing American public opinion. But while Wilson tried to avoid war for the next 3 years, favoring instead a negotiated collective approach to international stability, he was rapidly running out of options. Tensions heightened as Germany tried to isolate Britain in 1915 and announce unrestricted attacks against all ships that entered the war zone around the British Isles. In early April 1917, with the toll in sunken U.S. merchant ships and civilian casualties rising, Wilson asked Congress for a war to end all wars that would make the world safe for democracy. 100 years ago, on April 6, 1917, Congress thus voted to declare war on Germany, joining the bloody battle then optimistically called the Great War. The U.S. declaration of war, in essence, was recognition that the fact that Germany had chosen to impose a very strict, a very risky gamble in the U.S., risky for Germany, but the only way they thought they could obtain the victory they needed at home. A specialist in international relations conflict, Gomans is the author of War and Punishment, the Causes of War, Termination in the First World War. The Germans were well aware the U.S. could not and would not accept unrestricted submarine warfare, but launched it anyways. The U.S. declaration of war was thus already taken into account when the final decision for unrestricted submarine warfare was made in January 1917. Indeed, Hindenburg explicitly admitted the day before, "We count upon war with America." I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. This is elites. Elites did this. This is very elite.
It's exactly what the European Union is doing with the French people. They don't want to upset the election because it's so close, and what they're about to do would push it in Le Pen's favor. They are about to declare a total embargo on Russian oil. They're supposedly, according to Reuters, going to do this next week. This will cause a massive spike in the price of oil.
Why did your face just turn red? Are you getting these messages directly from the devil?
I'll give that to you here in a second.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for waiting. But yeah, and it is pronounced, that's true, Catbird. It is properly pronounced Reuters, not Reuters. It might look like that to you, but that's not how
But first, let me ask you,
can you kick my ass?
Is this really hurting Russia?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Because they've found other buyers for all of their oil.
Yeah, super cheap. So they're working almost for free.
They have found buyers in China, in Turkey, and India.
They just can't get the ships into the area to get it out.
And these people are saying that if this happens, they'll buy more.
So they'll be out of the world market and they'll buy it from Russia where it's cheap. And then the rest of the world's market will be changed accordingly.
So they have remarkably, according to JP Morgan, the Russian.
By the way, can we just remark for a second that it's all fake news and elites until he's citing people, and then it's Reuters and JP Morgan?
Russian crude exports are actually averaging 360,000 barrels above pre-invasion volumes. Huh.
Yeah, because they have to sell more of it to break even because the price has gone down.
Now
they're upping production because the oil is cheaper and they need the same amount of money.
Now they're saying that they're going to cut, Europe will cut all of that. And when they do, according to JP Morgan Chase, the price of Brent crude oil, $185 a barrel.
Dear God.
$185.
This might be the thing that drives Glenn to an electric car.
$1 a barrel. That, because of inflation, is about where the price of oil was, about $145. For how long? In 2007 or 8. This is what
14
caused the collapse of our economy.
No, it isn't. Credit default swaps did.
It was oil prices.
No, it wasn't.
The entire Western world is built on the back of energy prices.
No, it isn't.
Being no more than $100 a barrel.
No, it isn't. And we subsidize it to keep it down on purpose.
Every time it's over $100 a barrel, it hurts the economy.
Well, yeah, because it's burning money. By the way, it takes money out of the the economy. If you're looking for a way to fix inflation because you think it's monetary inflation, this is one of the ways you do it. High gas and oil prices actually fix inflation over time because they remove permanently cash from it. See, if you can invest in something like stocks or bonds, or you buy a piece of property, or you buy something that's on eBay and then you can sell it. Oil doesn't work that way. It's much like food. You can keep it as long as you need it, but once you use it, it's done.
And it stops it. If you can get it down to, what did Trump have it down to? Like $60 a barrel?
It was negative $36 a barrel because we were in lockdown.
When you get it down there, you're starting to hurt Russia. But high prices help Russia.
Russia was in a game of chicken with Saudi Arabia, lowering the prices. They didn't care.
Saudi Arabia, and hurt us, the entire West.
No, actually. And by the way, I don't know if you know this. I know Glenn probably doesn't because he's stupid, not because he couldn't look it up. But we're about 1 million barrels shy of the peak of oil production in the United States, period. Right now, we're about 1 million. If we pumped out 1 million more barrels, we're at peak oil for the United States, the amount of production.
At $185 a barrel, I don't even know what gas prices would be, but we're probably all paying $5 plus. California, good luck. How long can the Western world survive that? In real dollars, we had a very close experience in 2014 and in 2008. And we survived just fine. And as a matter of fact, our dollars are technically, because of mild inflation, 2% over time, are worth less than they were then. And so the prices, even though they were like a couple of dollars lower, were actually effectively higher in their monetary impact. Now, here's what's interesting. India and China and Turkey have already said they would take this oil.
Yes, we know.
Europe is not thinking about just pulling all of the oil and stopping at cold turkey. They are thinking about maybe doing it more slowly.
Oh, are they? I want a man with a slow hand. I want a man with an oily touch. That sounds disgusting. I apologize.
Over a period of months.
Months. Excuse me? What was that again? Play, silly.
Maybe doing it more slowly. Over a period of months.
Months.
Well, that gives Russia time to make all the deals. Who wins in that scenario? You don't have oil.
Well, we transition to getting more oil into market over that period of time, so it doesn't affect the economies of all these countries if they might start breaking away and feeling the pinch of it.
They have buyers. What is that?
It's a little hard. This is a lot of technical mumbo jumbo, Glenn. You're going to have to dumb it down for the rest of us.
By the way, the Russian break even for oil is less than $10 a barrel. So they're talking also about price caps. We'll only pay $20, but you're still giving them $10 on every barrel.
And they need $30 to maintain their economy.
I mean, I don't understand.
I know. We know. Glenn, we know. We all know, Glenn. We know you don't understand. The question is why you have a job talking into a microphone pretending that you do.
You're just hurting yourself with...
Yes, Russia. Why are you attacking Ukraine? You're just hurting yourself. I mean, honestly, did you just feel the need to have your ass kicked by the Ukraine? Oh, wait, he's not talking about that. Oh, I mean, okay, he's talking about gas.
Yes. And, I'm beginning to wonder.
Oh, we all are, Glenn.
You remember Biden had the emergency strategic oil reserve, petroleum reserve.
Along with, I think, 12 other countries.
And he said he was going to release 180 million barrels of oil. 180 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. That's 1 million barrels a day for 180 days.
Mm-hmm.
And it would end, shockingly, just right after the midterm elections. Okay? So he was going to do that. And remember what he said? I'm going to do this because I want to help the average person at the gas pump.
Yes, he was actually going to help people pump gas. He was going to help the average person. If he gets the sense that you're above average or below average, you're on your own.
Well, somehow or another, the definition of an emergency in helping you now includes making a profit at the expense of Americans' consumers.
What?
Because sooner or later, a real emergency will hit, and we will need the fuel.
Right.
According to Matt Smith, oil analyst and commodity data firm Kepler, we are now exporting our strategic oil reserve crude, and we've been doing it since last November. So
dun.
When Biden said we're going to release some and it's going to help the average person, no, that's not true.
Well, you're right. Europeans, compared to our education system, a lot of them are above average. I feel that. I feel you.
Unless you consider the citizens of Europe the citizens of the United States.
No, but I would consider them, average in general, based on a mean, not on their potential.
Why didn't we know this?
Because you didn't read it.
Why is he doing this?
Because he's not.
This is really not going to help. I mean, unless he's buying the support from Europe. Why would we buy the support from Europe? Support for what?
Well, it's a straw man, so you'll have to figure that out on your own.
2 years ago today, what were oil prices?
I don't know.
Today it's $104.
Yeah.
2 years ago today, oil prices $16.94.
$16.
An asterisk, of course, here in that is we are in the worst part of the pandemic.
Weird. Yeah. That's kind of an important asterisk. Also, the biggest problem you have, Stu, is not that we had $16 a barrel or that it was negative $36 a few months before that, or a couple months after that, actually. This was when it was cratering. The important thing, I think, to note is that 106 isn't even close to the 140 it was. Hold on one second. Now I got to gather this. Let's see. I need to go to here. One second. Prices. Graph. Whoops. Graph. 2000 to present. Yeah, that'll do it. There we go. I don't want let's see. Is this the price of it? Where is this happening? Okay, gonna slide over. There we go. Let's see. Year. Yeah, this would be, here you go. Hold on. This'll help explain it. Let me scroll this up so you can see it. I'll say back hard. Here you go. This is the percentage up. Where's the actual let's see, historical chart. There we go. This is by barrel cost. There you go. Here's this is 2008. This is 1980. Let's see. Let's see. There's 2014, 2013, 2012, 2011. It only dropped below there in 2008 for a few months. And it was already at that point in 2006. It did a little jag when during the election year, and then it went up in the election year, and then it cratered. because everything was falling apart, and then Biden took office here, and you're going up, and then it cratered because of, it went down because of the amount of, like, the volume of, look at that. It went from 120 to, where is it? $40 in 2016, from 2014 to 2016. And again, this goes to the whole inflation thing. This is where you look at market manipulation and all this. And right now, we are at, where's this? Right? What's it got? We'll say it's 100. There you go. $100.28 in this particular moment. I can't get over far enough on this thing. But that's just the February numbers. We're not anywhere close to this right now. This business. And this is the right before the crash in the lead up. Good times. Oh, the wrong one. Sorry.
At this point, which is a massive, that is the lowest it went, but that was 2 years ago exactly today. $16.94. It's now over $100. And,
yeah, by $6. And by the way, Glenn is not happy that you just reminded him that it's a full $40 cheaper than it was, 8 years ago.
Once we rebounded off the real catastrophic drop of the pandemic, it was around $40 after that, and now we're at $104.
$40 to $60 is a dream.
Yeah, 40 to 60 is where it was throughout 2019, most of 2017. It's a little higher at times in 2018, but had leveled off between $50 and $60 before the pandemic hit. And then, of course, all the way down to $16.
It was negative $36.
That's amazing. I wish I would have bought oil back then.
Stu, can you tell me, what exactly do you think is happening with the Strategic Oil Reserve being released, some of it at least, to Europe? That's not for Europe. That's for us. And that is actually not for price relief. That is to run our ships, our Navy,
No, it is for price relief. We've used it for price relief before.
Our Air Force.
What it's supposed to be, certainly.
Exactly right. Okay. And then we seem to be going closer and closer. Remember, Joe Biden said, I don't want to do anything that's going to, look like we're supporting Ukraine in any military fashion.
No, that's not what he said. Otherwise, we wouldn't be giving them hundreds of millions of dollars. I think $1.6 billion actually in arms. Unless he's doing it really nonchalantly. Like, he's just pushing javelins across the bar. I don't know where that came from. It was just sitting there when I came in.
We're not going to replace those planes for Poland if they do that.
Yeah, but that's because we're not going to let them trade MiGs for F-16s.
Not going to be involved in that at all.
F-22s.
Okay? Because that would be akin to an act of war.
Right.
He was very clear on that, wasn't he? Or was it just
like
me?
It. No, it seemed like it.
No, that's not why.
Yesterday, NBC News cited 5 U.S. officials that said a new package, a new arms package, which will bring our military aid to $3 billion.
Yeah. I'm starting to think Biden doesn't care about the optics the same way you think he does.
Is going to be announced. Listen to this. We are now selling them howitzers, anti-aircraft systems, anti-ship missiles, armed drones, armored trucks, personnel carriers, and even tanks.
You're welcome.
Now, that sounds to me as bad, if not worse, than some old planes from the 1960s.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the infection that Glenn clearly has in his nasal passages is the result of fecal material getting lodged in his nostrils when he had his head up his own ass. I would line this up with the whole student debt forgiveness. Let's pretend Biden made a promise he didn't make and then hold him to it and be weirded out when he doesn't.
That we weren't even going to do.
All right. Again, we're not giving Poland F-22s and F-16s to replace MiGs.
Why are we doing this? By the way, Russia sent a warning to us.
Right. Who gives a fuck?
That if we start delivering these, quote, most sensitive weapon systems to Ukraine, it will bring unpredictable consequences.
Oh, well, I'm clearly shaking in my fucking boots. I would have said that, you know what, the most recent example of unpredictable consequences in terms of Russia are, nobody thought they would get their ass kicked this handily, this quickly. The sinking of the Moskva, I would call that an unpredictable consequence. That's just me.
I don't think they're unpredictable.
All right, what do you think they're going to be, Glenn? Here we go. Good piece of information. Bring it. Come on.
You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. I don't think it's unpredictable.
Okay, what is it then? What are the consequences? Here? Let's hear it. What do you think it's going to do? Cyber attacks?
Are we shooting ourselves in the foot?
No. I mean, that would be unpredictable consequences if Russia had a space ray that made us shoot ourselves in the feet.
By giving away our oil reserve, even selling our oil reserve, just touching our oil reserves.
Yeah, you shouldn't touch your oil reserves. Not in public, honey. Wait till you get home. It's your private place.
At this point, while we're antagonizing the bigger bully.
They're not the bigger bully. They're a paper tiger. It's bullshit.
And maybe the biggest bully on the block?
They're not. Arguably, China would be bigger, and even they aren't that scary.
For 6,000 nuclear weapons?
Tell me how many of them work.
Yeah, that seems like a problem to me. Now, if you're going, the back sort of the backstory as far as the reporting goes,
right,
seems to indicate basically we're trying to say to Europe, you guys need to stop buying Russian fossil fuels,
right?
And they say, well,
Stu,
what are we going to use? And this is part of our answer. Right. Well, we'll send you some from our strategic oil reserves
and a lot from our actual industry.
Help, lower the burden as you cut this off.
We just open up our system. Mm-hmm. It's going to take us 6 months, but we're already 6 months into this.
We are dum-dum.
We're going to open up our systems.
Our systems weren't closed either.
Again, we're going to start.
If this motherfucker says Keystone XL,
start pumping it like we were.
I've been pumping it. I never stopped.
And we'll sell it to you for $60 a barrel.
Now, I pump for free. Let's just be honest. I don't know what kind of gal you think I am.
And we're going to leave our strategic oil reserve alone.
Well, you refill the strategic oil reserve mostly by a dividend provided by the companies that pump oil out of the earth in the United States. So a portion of that as part of the lease can be paid in cash, or they can put money into they can put oil into the strategic reserve. See how that works? Do you think he knows this? Honestly, do you think?
It's really getting simple.
It's fast.
Well, in deference to you and Stu,
fascinating to watch this because you mentioned before, you're like, wasn't he really clear about this? And he was really clear when he said, that we were not going to do anything that was going to escalate us into war. But
is that what he said?
To say that he was clear really about any of this overall is really difficult to say. He's gone back and forth over and over again. Remember, this guy ran a platform saying we're going to get rid of fossil fuels.
Yeah, but we're in a war right now, and a fifth of the Earth's oil supply has been cut off. And if we just sever all ties and go, fuck fossil fuels today, we're done. Stroke of the pen, executive order, we're no longer using fossil fuels. 1 billion people will die of starvation this year, you dumb shit.
We're going to eliminate them. We're going to be,
It's going to phase them out. Some of us actually listen to the debates.
Net zero.
Yes, net zero is not zero. Net zero is you take out as much as you put in, and it evens you out. So you're not making any more damage at all. You're mitigating it while the system heals itself, and then you slowly over time lower your dependence on it even more to the point where it's negative. Zero is just you, Stu.
All of these things that he said to environmentalists to get their vote. Then he gets in front of the public and people say, hey, you keep saying you're going to get rid of all these fossil fuels. now we're having an oil price crisis. What's the deal?
Yeah, what gives? It's so weird. Hold on. I think let's see. It's almost as if like, and hold on, now I gotta. Yeah, here you go. It's almost as if he's recognizing the reality of the circumstance we're in and then taking mitigatory actions to keep on track. The Biden administration anticipates authorizing an additional 10 gigawatts of renewable energy projects on U.S. public land by the end of 2023, nearly doubling current permit capacity. The Interior Department made the projection in a report to Congress that shows regulators and developers moving rapidly to advance new wind farms and solar arrays in Arizona, California, Nevada, and other western states. The effort is part of the administration's push to make the U.S. power sector emission-free by 2035 and permit some 25 gigawatts of solar, wind, and geothermal energy production on public lands by 2025. By the way, that's not, they're jacking up the number of private permits as well. This is just on public lands. The technological advances, increased interest, cost effectiveness, and tremendous economic potential make these projects a promising path for diversifying our national energy portfolio. Interior Secretary Deb Haaland said in a news release Wednesday. As part of the plan, the Interior is considering changes to electric transmission corridors across 11 western states that are meant to target and accelerate the development of power lines. Regulators also will be using new policies to screen and prioritize proposed solar and wind projects on public lands with the goal of moving more quickly on the most feasible proposals. The Interior's Bureau of Land Management has ramped up renewable energy permitting under Biden, having authorized 12 projects in fiscal 2021 that support 2,890 megawatts of solar and geothermal energy generation, according to the report. Almost all of those were solar ventures, such as the 500 megawatt Yellow Pine and 350 megawatt Hot Pot projects in Nevada, which are fascinating. I drive by one of them all the time. The agency continues signing new leases for renewable projects, including granting Minersville Solar Energy LLC the first competitively awarded rights for solar ventures in Utah. Utah? There's three of my favorite names, Marvin, Thelma, and Provo. If the three parcels are fully developed, they could generate more than 600 megawatts of electricity. The Bureau has said it is now processing proposals for 48 solar, wind, and geothermal projects on public lands with an anticipation to permit 4,703 megawatts by October 1st, the start of the next fiscal year. Staffing constraints and environmental reviews are limitations on the pace, according to the report to Congress. The only thing slowing them down is the availability of the people to fucking carry it out.
Here, gas prices are going through the roof. It's hurting families. Foggy. And he says, we haven't done anything. We haven't done anything to stop production. What are you talking about? Now, there was a court ruling that said they have to open up new leases. Not their action. The court said you have to open up these new leases.
No, there are a bunch of new leases. Some of them had environmental reviews. The ones in Louisiana, they had a judge push back on those. That's it. And essentially they were like, look, this is a fight between the fisheries in Louisiana and the oil companies.
The environmentalists are mad, and he's saying again, we're not doing anything.
We're not doing anything. Do you know how many fucking supposed lefties believe this fucker? Believe Stu?
This isn't us. So, they've gone back and forth on this so many times because they're telling the left that they're absolutely attacking fossil fuels.
They are.
And then telling the American...
And they are. See, Stu, he fucked up your story. You were in the middle of saying that he's a liar and he's not doing it, but that eats into his narrative that they're not. We're that they're ruining fossil fuels and they're trying to, this is the new Great Reset, Green Deal nonsense. He fucked up your, why don't you just stop talking? If I was Stu, I would just turn the desk over and walk out.
American people, we're not doing anything on that front at all. All these oil companies are just so greedy, and that's the problem here.
All right.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it.
Just do me a favor and prepare for a bad scenario. Maybe.
Yeah, get some fucking tubs full of pancake batter and lock yourself in the basement.
It doesn't come. But so far, it looks like that's what they're going to announce next week.
Great. This is what it's come down to, is that Glenn Beck is now doing stories about supposed things that will be announced next week that are going to be baddish. I'm just going to enjoy this. I got to tell you, I got no more Glenn. See me go nuts. You have to understand. There's somebody like you yelling that about almost everybody I cover. But all of these people are the reason why Fox News has their talking points. They're the reason. They are the, whatever you hear on these shows and the arguments around them and the basis of them or the lack thereof, you're going to hear coming out of Ted Cruz or Jim Jordan or Josh Hawley on the seat of on the floor of the Senate or in a committee some point. And so I think a lot of people just kind of are afraid to watch these things for fear that they'll get black pilled or red pilled or whatever it is. I forget what pill it is supposed to be. And that, they'll, it's a waste of your time to watch and think, all right. And it is by yourself. But with me along, it's fun. And what I want to remind you is that these guys operate largely on the mythology that they know what the fuck they're talking about. And all of them are talking out of their ass. And the more you find about all these topics, more you kind of study up on them, the more it's hilarious when these people show up on the news or as pundits or try to make these cases, because it falls apart amazingly swiftly. I mean, it's why I could go after the Hunter Biden laptop bullshit as easily as I can without fear. It's why I call out the bullshit I see, and when people kind of throw stuff back at me, why it never really messes with me, because I've done my fucking homework and I'm not worried about it. It's good. It's red pilling. Thank you. I wish I cared, but I don't. And by the way, this is where the chat is now. I moved my clips to here and to here so that it's better and more consistent with what you're seeing on screen. Did anybody notice? I mean, it's a minor thing, but I was chipping away at it. Look at that, 888 subs. You guys, come on. Mandy, thank you for being a member for 7 months. That's really lovely. Hold on, I'm going to bring this up. Mr. Jath, 937, Philly Dana, thank you for staying members. DJ Safe, thank you for subscribing. Auntie Sarah, bless you. Robert, thanks for the $2. Love you, Hal. Just ordered an NFT and a crest sticker. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, for those of you that don't know, I made an NFT. It's just a t-shirt that says, has the letters N and F on it. So now you too can own an NFT, but not be an asshole who's losing your money, because at the very least you have a great conversation starter and a joke. And for fuck's sake, why no one else thought of this is shocking to me. And I know somebody's going to steal it and run with it, but I am just saying, you deserve all the subs and views, Hal. Thank you, Sarah. Bless you. The fact that I had to come up with this, and I was like, how did nobody spot this? How did nobody... By the way, don't forget to give a thumbs up on your way out the door. I'm going to see if... Let's see. Doobity-doo. This is probably going to make noise as soon as I... Whoops. As soon as I go there. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Don't make noise, you crazy thing. You did great. I did great. You did great. I think you're great. I'm just saying. Creator dashboard, and then I go in there, and then I go to here. I just want to be able to, if I can raid somebody. Nope, everybody's gone. Why is everyone? Where have all the good shows gone? I guess it's just you and me. I'll leave you guys to find your own stuff. I mean, Rachel will be on in about 50 minutes, so you guys can jump over to that. And I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon. Thursday show, of course, starts at 4 o'clock instead of 3 o'clock. So bless you for understanding. That's my day of family FaceTime. By the way, can I just recommend that everybody do that? Like, call up your family, be the person to do it. You could be the person in your family to do it. Like, hey guys, I'm going to put together a family FaceTime, and I'll just call everybody in, and we'll just kind of have a chit chat and see how everybody's doing. If anybody's interested, we're going to do it, once a week at this time. What works for everybody? I'm thinking, Friday evening or Thursday evening or Sunday afternoon, something like that. Go for it. All they can say is no. And then you can't get your family to do it? Do it with your friends. Yours are MAGA muffins? I'm sorry, Lolima. Well, I would suggest then that you, very possibly, it would be good if you, let's see. Yeah, just make a friend tree. Or just, become a patron and join the Discord server. And then you can chit chat with all those folks all the time. Where's the tool cover? I'm waiting for the better video of it. I apologize, Honey Sarah. It's not up to me. It wasn't like my girlfriend wasn't there, so my buddy Tig filmed it, and it was on his. That's the really crappy video you've seen. Sounds good, but the video, yeah. Anyway, so I'm waiting on that. So I'll let you. I'll get it as soon as I can. Do a push it cover. Push it. What's the minimum buy-in on Discord? Let's see. I think it's just any level. Yeah. There's an upper tier for people who are in the upper tiers, so they don't have to hang out with the riffraff. But in general, you get to join it just by being a patron. So there you go. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And I'll see you at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Bless you. And can I just review real quick? Rudy Giuliani, Steve Bannon, Richard Wolff, fucking who else? Who else did we deal with today? Glenn Beck and Stu, and we skipped a Greg Kelly because I didn't need that in my life. We went through all that stuff, and there's nothing to fear. This whole idea that there's this oh my God, they're going to try Jan 6 again, and they're going to be successful next time. Steve Bannon is the point person on that, and it's never going to fucking happen. And I'm going to prove it to you simply by showing you this shit every time it comes up when it's funny or has the potential for being funny. And I don't want you to worry about any of that shit. Just get on with your life, having some fun. Spend the rest of your time when you're not watching this on the show, not worrying about politics as much, because I'm going to take care of this stuff. I am. Fear not. And until next time, take care of yourself and take care of somebody else.